to celebrate water. And I want to begin with a way that's surefire to win friends and influence people. I want to begin by giving you homework. Yeah! Woo, woo. But I promise this will be some of the funnest and bestest homework you've ever done, because you don't have to do it. You get an opportunity to, and this is all I'd like you to do, be inspired, be empowered, be willing to make a difference. How many of you'd like to make the world a better place? That's your homework. And you have the rest of your life to work on it. But my hope, my inspiration, will be walking across this stage in a few moments. Hopefully today you will meet somebody. You'll get to meet an alligator snapping turtle that will weigh 200 pounds someday and could take off your hand if it wanted to. The largest reptile in North America that lives to be more than 100 years old, and you'll say, hey, why is that creature endangered? A group of high school kids are reintroducing, not just complaining that it's almost extinct, but doing something about it. Maybe you'll hear a speaker, you'll participate in one of the games, you'll go through the streams, and you'll see something that'll spark. And you say, hey, I could do that. I could be the change I want to see. I could make my world a better place. So your great-great-grandchildren will be telling your story 100 years from now. In just a moment, we're going to parade out some people who have done above and beyond the average things, who have won awards that we're about to give them, and maybe next year we can see one of you or a class or a whole school send some representatives up here to collect an award for doing one simple thing: be inspired. And with that inspiration, be empowered. And with that sense of power, make the world a better place. Next, I would like to introduce oh, wait a minute. You guys are, these are the students from Hollis Grade School, and they put together a zero waste program. How many of you brought lunch? How many of you plan to recycle? What is in your lunch that you can recycle? You can see they are recycling glass and paper and aluminum and most plastics. How many of you have food in your lunch? What you don't eat should go in the compost. Banana peels, orange peels, apple cores. I hope you eat your whole sandwich. Your mom will be disappointed if you don't eat the crust. But the crust or anything left over goes in the compost. Wait a minute. The landfill. It's empty. Our goal, zero landfill. Nothing goes in the garbage. When you throw it away, where is away? Zero landfill. That is our goal. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycling includes plastic and paper. Compost includes food waste. And let's shoot for zero waste. Everything gets reused or recycled. Give the Hollis students a round of applause. And next, I would like to introduce John G. Waffenschmidt, who has a very special award for some students from Pontiac High School, and he'll tell you more about it. Let's hear it for John.
Thank you very much, everybody. Since 2010, we've had a program where we offer free disposal to any community in the United States that does a drug take-back program. Since about that time, one of our allies and one of our friends has been Paul Ritter and the Prescription Pill and Drug Disposal Program, commonly known as P2D2. If you go to P2D2's website, what you'll see is they're going to inform you of what the environmental impacts are of improper disposal of pharmaceuticals, and perhaps more importantly, how terrible the drug abuse problem is in America and the impact that it has on our citizens. I'm very honored to be here today at the Clean Water Celebration put on by the Sun Foundation. The Sun Foundation's interdisciplinary vision fits in perfectly with P2D2's work, as well as our free drug disposal program, which we call Prescription for Safety or RX for Safety. The Sun Foundation is correct that what we really need is action, and action with regard to proper drug disposal is a priority. Our ultimate vision, our ultimate goal is that every citizen in the United States has access to free disposal at their local pharmacy, and that those drugs that are taken from that pharmacy get proper disposal so we minimize the environmental impacts. I hope all of you will share in that vision. The work of organizations like the Sun Foundation and P2D2 are taking the correct steps for us to achieve that ultimate vision of pharmacy drop-off and environmentally sound disposal. When we achieved our first 1 million pounds of collected materials that we took and burned and converted into non-fossil energy, we decided that we would reward our most important partners with a plaque to recognize that. And P2D2 was one of those organizations. As of today, we have taken for free from communities across the United States 2.5 million pounds of unwanted pharmaceuticals. So with that, I'd like to offer our 1 million thanks plaque to P2D2 for their great work. In addition, we have a check here for $5,000 to continue to work at P2D2 around the world. We have some visitors here from Turkey where they're going to start their own P2D2 program. And all of you should make sure that your cupboards at home are removed. Any drugs that aren't being used, make sure your parents take them to a drop-off program like the ones run by P2D2. Thank you very much, everybody.
Isn't that astounding? And you know those great big checks you can actually redeem at the bank? Who'd like to get one? And I would just want to highlight one little point. Did you catch, well, two things really. Did you catch, that was a project started by high school students here in Illinois that is now taken off around the world. We actually have a group of high school students from Turkey who are instituting a similar program. They met in Africa, but the same group from Pontiac High School in Illinois went to Sweden and got an international award. And many of the other groups there also getting prizes. They took P2D2 to their country, and now 2 million pounds. Think about that. How many little pills is 2 million pounds? Instead of being dumped into the rivers and streams, is now being incinerated to make electricity, to do a good thing. Next, I'd like to introduce Debbie Flegel from Trees Forever, who's going to give out a series of awards to your peers, many of your could-be friends. And seriously, next year, I'd like to see some of you up here getting one of those awards, but let's give a warm welcome to Debbie Flegel from Trees Forever.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Debbie Flegel, and I am the chairperson of the Making Waves Award. We have 6 outstanding award winners this morning to present to you. Each one of our award winners is getting a one-of-a-kind, handcrafted award made by a local artist, and it looks like waves. Since 1995, the Clean Water Celebration has presented Making Waves Awards to individuals and organizations who make waves for the environment and water. We hope that making you aware of their accomplishments will encourage you and inspire you to make waves of your own. Our first award winner is the Farmington School District. The Farmington Central School District number 265 applied for a grant from the Illinois Clean Energy Community Foundation last year. This grant, which the district applied, was to fund nearly $1.1 million of a $1.8 million total project cost, and last May the district was awarded the grant. As a result, they entered an agreement with the Farnsworth Group and the Clean Energy Design Group to design and build a solar power array that would sit atop all of the district's south-facing roofs at the PK through 12 facility in Farmington. This array, which is now almost completely built, will generate 756 kilowatts of electricity, which accounts for approximately 30 to 40% of the district's total power consumption. In addition to saving the school district over $70,000 per year in energy savings, this solar array will also greatly benefit the environment. Over the 25 years, which is the lifespan of the system, it is estimated to offset 24,725,334 kilowatts of electricity, 38,786,656 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions, 124,467 pounds of smog-producing emissions, over 112,000 pounds of acid rain-producing emissions, and over 7,000 pounds of particulates that cause asthma. These are the environmental equivalents of 63,109,758 miles driven in an average car, or taking over 204 cars off the road for 25 years. We'd like to recognize the Farmington School District on their amazing work in installing the solar array panel. Okay, our next award winners are Hollis Grade School. Hollis Grade School has been part of the Sun Foundation's Clean Water Celebration since the event began in 1993. Hollis students have been participants, but more importantly, through this event, had the opportunity to take on leadership roles. You will find them on stage as performers, presenters in the exhibit hall, as well as introducing and assisting presenters in breakout sessions. Behind the scenes, they play another important role. They are part of the evaluation team, assessing what works and what does not work. Their suggestions have helped shape this event throughout the years. Each year, the celebration has changed its audience to take action, has challenged its audience to take action for a better environment. Hollis students are active as citizen scientists, collecting and reporting the data about their local environment. They take an active role in managing waste streams created at school. The students and staff at Hollis recycle and compost. The Latchkey program students collect all of the room bins and deposit all of the recyclable waste at their Midland Davis collection bin. The 4th grade students manage their composting process. Hollis Grade School has definitely heeded the call of action. So congratulations to Hollis Grade School. Our next award winners have flown halfway across the world to be here with us today. Students from the Fen Bilimleri Anatolian High School in Istanbul, Turkey, created a vermicompost system for schools in coordination with municipalities and local markets. Students identified a lack of knowledge about organic waste management and vermicompost, which is composting with earthworms, through a survey conducted in their neighborhood. They decided to raise awareness and spread the practice of vermicomposting. They signed an action protocol with the municipalities of Kartal and Maltepe to present the vermicomposting method at various schools and organizations. They reached out to factories to learn and obtain basic materials for the project. With the materials in place, they began collecting organic waste and converting it to vermicast, which is a fertilizer, in coordination with schools, local markets, and municipalities. The project has reached about 750 people. Its continuation is expected to reduce both municipalities' annual expenditures in organic waste management. The students have also created a website, distributed posters and brochures, made presentations at 5 different schools, 2 non-governmental organizations, Sisley Science Center for Children, and Turkey Science Center's Foundation. Students were able to obtain 100 plastic pots from a recycling factory in exchange for plastic equipment collected at their school. They adapted the plastic pots, made holes necessary for vermicomposting, and delivered them to 5 schools along with 2,000 California earthworms from a vermicompost factory. So we'd like to recognize the Fen Belemleri Anatolian High School and give them a big Central Illinois welcome. Our next award winner is Brian Fox Ellis. If you've been to the Clean Water Celebration before, then you've seen Brian Fox Ellis here on this stage many times. He has been a vital part of our planning committee, bringing many of our favorite presenters to join him. He has been our keynote speaker 3 times, and one of his stage shows, Voices for the River, was filmed as a mockumentary. He has been a keynote speaker at international wetlands, conservation, and non-point source pollution conferences, educating policymakers from around the world. He has published 16 books on ecology, including How to Host a Clean Water Celebration, available for free online at thesunfoundation.org. After performing at Arbor Day celebrations around the world, he organized Peoria's Arbor Day for several years, planting more than 12,000 trees, making a difference in our community for generations to come. But he says, being a part of the Clean Water Celebration is the most important work I do each year, because it's all about inspiring the next generation. We'd like to welcome and congratulate Brian Fox Ellis.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to recognize Hannah and Betsy Sine, who brought their grandson Samson with them today. In 1962, Hannah Sine, a Winnebago elder, also known as White Beaver, and his wife Betsy Sine, Haynukchek, led the annual gathering naming ceremony with the Winnebago and visiting tribe at Starved Rock State Park in Oglesby, Illinois. The gathering was begun by Hannah's parents, Samson Sine, Walk with the Wind, and Ruth Mallory Sine, Stands on a Cloud. They have worked to save and keep the culture of the Winnebago tribe alive and pass it on to their offspring. In the tradition of his Winnebago culture, Hannah was raised to respect nature and carries this message to a new generation. He is an artist and former graphic designer for the Friendship House. For the past 22 years, Hannah and Betsy have participated in the Clean Water Celebration, providing the blessings of the water. They have worked to improve our understanding of the important values of the Winnebago people to care for and to respect nature. We would like to congratulate Hannah and Betsy and Samson and provide them with their Making Waves Awards. And our last award goes to Gifts in the Moment. The Gifts in the Moment Foundation's mission is to promote equal access to good foods while supporting the lives of local growers with the introduction of 4 community gardens, school-based nutrition education, and the South Village Farmers Market. In the past 4 years, they have been spearheading major community food projects in order to improve accessibility for fresh and locally grown produce throughout the city. Food desert areas. Over the past 3 years, over 17,000 pounds of fresh produce has been introduced to the families of the South Village through the Urban Farmers Market. This year will mark the introduction of the region's first mobile fresh food van. This van will act as a mobile farmers market to weekly fresh food stops throughout the Tri-County region. In addition to the mobile market, free community nutrition cooking classes will be offered at community partner sites. The Gifts in the Moment Foundation was founded by Denise Uricki and Kim Keenan, both who serve as co-directors of the organization. Since 2010, the foundation has grown to over 40 volunteers and 50 organizational partnerships. We'd like to recognize the Gifts in the Moment with a Making Waves Award. Could you please give all of our Making Waves Award winners one more big round of applause? Next year, we hope to see you up here on this stage.
You guys grab the table. You guys go ahead. Frank, I don't know if you can get a close-up on this. These things are absolutely gorgeous. It's a handmade piece of glass made right here in Peoria by a Peoria artist with a huge tsunami, a great wave made out of glass inside this glass ball. Who would like to have one? Yeah. So your homework, be inspired, be empowered. You can make the world a better place. And then let us know about it. We'd love to have you up here on stage next year. Next, I would like to introduce, let's get this show beginning, the students from Hollis Grade School who are here to talk about zero waste. How many of you brought a lunch? What can you recycle? Paper, glass, aluminum. How many of you brought food? What you don't eat, put it in the compost. Aww. The bin for the landfill is empty. Zero waste. Nothing thrown away. Let's see if we can move towards no garbage, that everything goes back into the cycles of life. Thank you to the Hollis students. Who are your ancestors? How many of you ever talked to your grandma about her grandma? Where did they come from? If you could look back through time, where did your great-great-great-great-grandma live? What is the culture? What is the wisdom? There was a time when all of us lived on the land. We still do. Sometimes we forget that. Every bite we eat, where did that food come from? Every morsel we put in our mouth is a sacred relationship with the earth. What did you have to drink today? Where did that come from? And where does it go when you're done with it? It's all part of that cycle. In so many ways, we are connected. And if the Eagle Ridge Drum would step out, I would like to welcome. We're going to begin with a story from this place. We're going to begin with a story of native North America. Anybody besides me have ancestors who have lived here for longer than a few generations? What are the stories of the Lakota, the Cherokee, the Hopi, the Winnebago? What is the wisdom about our relationship to water? I would like to welcome the Roberts family and the Lakota family, Jimmy and Joe, and the Eagle Ridge Singers. Let's hear it for them.
was a world before this world.
No, she's not on.
We're living in the third world.
She's not on. She's not.
No sound coming in. But Creator looked at the world and saw that the human beings were not living well upon Mother Earth. Not hearing me? Sorry. Should be on. Okay. Sorry.
Joe Lakota.
Hi, that was my boy dancing. Pretty good, huh? Having a little trouble with my mic today, so bear with us. There was a world before this world, but Creator looked at the world and saw that the human beings were not living well upon Mother Earth and decided to create a new world, the third world. So Creator sang 4 songs. The first song started the rain. The second song brought the deluge of rain. The third song caused the rivers to overflow their banks. And the fourth song, Creator stomped his feet 4 times. And the earth cracked like a great gourd, and out of the cracks came water pouring, and the water covered all of the land and the entire earth. And Creator took his great pipe bag and his pipe, and he floated them upon the water, and he got upon them and floated and was moved around by the wind and the waves until the rain stopped. And then Creator opened the pipe bag and took out the pipe, and the pipe is wrapped in a cloth, and within that cloth were the forms of all of the animals and the plants. And Creator pulled out 4 animals. He selected 4 that were known for their ability to dive and to stay underwater for long periods of time. The first animal he took out was the loon, the great bird. And he sang that bird to life. And he said to the bird, "Dive deep and bring back some mud." So the loon went up and dove down into the water, his beak piercing the surface of the water. And they waited, but when the loon came up, the loon had no mud. The second animal that Creator pulled from the pipe bag was the otter. And the otter has powerful webbed feet and a sleek body. And the Creator said, "Otter, dive deep and bring back some mud." So the otter dove deep and was gone for a long time. But when he came back, he had no mud. Next, the Creator pulled from the bag the beaver, who had a flat, strong tail that could propel him deep into the water. So Creator sang the beaver to life and sent him diving. And the beaver was gone for a long, long time. But when he came back, he had no mud. So then the Creator pulled out the turtle known for long life and endurance and strength. And he said, "Turtle, you must bring some earth back from the bottom of the waters." And so the turtle dove deep and deep and was gone for a very long, long time. And the turtle was gone for so long that the beaver and the other animals thought that the turtle had died, and they were sad. But then the turtle broke the surface of the water and paddled over to Creator and said, "I have brought up some earth." So the Creator scooped this earth from the shell and the feet of the turtle and molded it into a ball, and then made it into a flat thing and laid it upon the water where it floated. And Creator went into the pipe bag and pulled out 2 long wing feathers and waved them over the land, and the land began to spread over the water. And Creator unwound the pipe bag and took out the forms of all the family of animals and the plants and placed them about the earth and started to sing them to life. But as he was doing this, the land was continuing to grow, and Creator looked and saw that all of the water was covered with land. And this was not good, because the animals and plants and the earth needed the water. And Creator began to weep for the animals and for the plants and for the earth. And those tears created the streams and the rivers and the great waters that we have today. And Creator reached down and took the white earth and the black earth and the brown earth and the red earth and formed the human beings, men and women. And he said to them, live in peace with each other. Live in peace with the animals and live in peace with the plants, so that your world, the third world, may endure. Aho.
Thank you, Eagle Ridge Drum, Jimmy and Joe. Like many of us, I'm a mutt. I have ancestors from all over the world. Who are your grandparents? What is the wisdom we can learn from them? This story talks about the creation of humans. Think about it. You are a lucky pile of mud. Most mud just lays there like some people you might know, but you can play basketball and video games. You can write poetry and change the world. We are made of earth. How many of you eat food? Where does the food grow? You are made of earth, clay, and water. We call this planet Earth, but it should be called water. 3/4 of the earth covered with water, and you are 3/4 water. My ancestors are Cherokee. On my mom's side, 100% German. But my dad, he's a mongrel, a mutt like me, like many of you. Part Polish, part Welsh, maybe some Czech in there because the boundaries kept changing. Cherokee, but mostly Scottish and Irish. I have a foot on both of those emerald green islands. And here is a poem, a song, that's one of the oldest we know from Ireland, the Song of the Sea. Fain we ask Erin, fair o'er oceans, motions to mountains, fountains and bowers, showers, rills rushing, gushing waves welling, swelling streams calling me home. Think about salmon. Anybody besides me like to eat fish? Salmon begin as a tiny little egg, and so did you. In your mama, in the womb is the same amount of salt that's in the sea. You carry the salt in your bloodstreams. So imagine now you are a fish. Imagine you are a salmon. born a tiny egg high in a mountain stream. The egg hatches and becomes a minnow. The minnow swims out into the creek, and it grows and swims down the stream into the river, down the river to the ocean. And then it spends years migrating in a great circle of the ocean. And when the time is right, and you will know when the time is right, it smells its way home. Not this stream, not that stream. It always returns to the same stream it was born in, leaping over waterfalls, rushing against the current, up to that very same spot in the creek. It smells like home, and it lays an egg. And this story doesn't end. This story begins again. Fain we ask Erin, fair nor oceans, motions to mountains, fountains and bowers, showers, rills rushing, gushing waves welling, swelling streams calling me home. My dad used to tell me, eat more fish. It's brain food. I thought it was some old folk tale. Eat more fish. And then I grew up and became a scientist, and I found out fish protein is very similar to brain protein, and the more fish you eat, the smarter you get. Who wants to eat more fish? And actually, one of the differences between caveman, Neolithic, Cro-Magnon, and humans, Homo sapiens, is our ancestors lived by the sea and streams and rivers, and we ate more fish. So maybe it's not a folk tale. A story 1,000 years old from Ireland. Finn McCool and the Salmon of Knowledge. Finn McCool was the greatest warrior that Ireland ever knew, and a poet too. Don't we wish more of our rulers were poets? When Finn McCool was a young babe, not yet weaned from his mother's milk, Finn's father was killed in battle. And Finn's mother was faced with a terrible choice. Maybe the enemy would come and claim my son, murder him so that they could claim the throne. And she was faced with a terrible choice. To save her son's life, she hid him in the forest. She gave him to 2 old druid women, wise in the ways of the woods. They kept him in an ancient hollow oak tree. They raised him upright. They taught him which plants were medicine and which were poisonous, which berries and roots would feed you and which might kill you. They taught him how to fence with sword and shield, for druid women are warriors too. But when Finn was a young buck, they felt that he had learned all they could from him. He had learned all they could from them. He needed a man's presence. So they sent him to Finnegas. Now, without a doubt, Finnegas is one of the greatest poets that Ireland ever produced. Finnegas knew the ancient bards, the stories of our ancestors. But Finnegas loved 2 things. One, of course, being poetry. The other one, fishing. Anybody besides me love to be fishing? But there was one fish in particular that Finnegas wanted to catch. It was the fabled salmon of knowledge. As the ancient prophecies foretold, if you were the first to take a morsel of this fish, you would have the gift of tongues, knowledge of all things in this world and the worlds beyond. You would know the languages of bird and beast, fish and flower. Who would like to learn the languages of other creatures? To be able to speak to them, but more important, listen and know of what they speak. Well, one day, young Finn was lying by the river Boyne with his 2 favorite hounds, Bran and Skule. He was watching the clouds race by when he heard his teacher, Finnegas, shout, "What joy, what rapture, my treasure I capture." Maybe not his best effort at poetry. But he had landed the fabled salmon of knowledge. He brought it to young Finn. He said, "Boy, please stoke up the fire. Skin this fish and cook it for me, but whatever you do, don't have a bite, not a morsel. I caught it. It's only right. Finnegas, the poet, have the gift of tongues. Well, young Finn did as he was instructed. He built a roaring fire. He took a slab of granite, a flat stone, and put it on the fire so when the stone was red hot, he could broil the fish. He filleted the fish, and he made a wonderful, wonderful sauce of wild herbs and honey. He had learned from the Druid women. He slathered the salmon with honey, and he put it on the rock, and he watched it. And as it was cooking, under the skin, he saw a little bubble of oil begin to form. And heated by the fire, that bubble of oil began to expand. And as the bubble rose, young Finn went to poke it down. Oh, the hot oil burst on his thumb. And when he touched his thumb to his tongue and tasted that salmon, his thoughts raced like the clouds in the blue sky. And just in that moment, Finnegas came back to the fire. And Finnegas said, "You done it, didn't you, boy? You tasted the salmon?" Now, young Finn was about to refute him, deny it. But somehow he knew in the next moment what Finnegas would say. The ancient prophecy said a man named Finn should have the gift of tongues. I thought, Finnegas, but maybe it's you, boy. Finn McCool, someday you'll be the greatest ruler that Ireland ever knew. And so it is. The story came true. Young Finn ruled Ireland with compassion and wisdom. He had the gift of tongues. He knew the languages of birds and beast, tree and flower. And again, I ask you, who would like to have such knowledge? The truth is, science is giving us this knowledge. We can learn the languages of other creatures, of dolphins and whales, of bird and beast. You doubt me? National Geographic, I just read an article a couple years ago. A scientist learned the languages of prairie dogs. He began to learn 26 different words. The prairie dogs even had a different call. They barked differently when he wore his hat and when he didn't. Science is giving us this gift. And with knowledge comes responsibility. With knowledge, when we act on it, becomes wisdom. One more time I'll ask, who loves to eat fish? If you haven't tried it yet, don't knock it. The fisheries of the world are collapsing. In so many places we take, and the fishes are disappearing. How many of you catch your own? If you follow the rules, the limits, the regulations, you know it's sustainably harvested. You know where it came from. When you go to a fancy restaurant or even get a fish sandwich, ask, where did it come from? Is it sustainably harvested? With knowledge comes responsibility, and every morsel we put in our mouth is a sacred relationship with the earth and the sea. Thank you. Let's travel. Leaving Ireland, we're going to go to another island nation, Japan, buffeted by the waves. I would like to welcome one of my new friends, a storyteller I've admired from afar for a long time, so thrilled, from Chicago, with a root in Japan. Let's welcome Anne Shimojima. Thank you.
Good morning. This story is based on a legend that was collected in Japan in the late 1800s by a man named Lafcadio Hearn. It goes like this. Once in Japan, a long time ago, there was a small village by the sea. Just 90 thatched houses nestled at the base of the mountain. The people there grew rice, and you could see the rice fields all around, and even going up the side of the mountain like green terrace steps. Above the people's rice fields, there was a large temple where they would worship. And above the temple, the largest house in the village. It belonged to an old man named Gohei Hamaguchi. He lived there with his grandson, Tada. Now, Hamaguchi-san was the wealthiest man in the village and so beloved, the people called him Oji-san, which means grandfather. He was very wise, and the people would go to him with their problems, and he would help with advice and sometimes money. It was a fall day. Oji-san was standing on the veranda of his house. From that place, he could see all the way down the mountain, the entire village, first his own rice fields. The rice had been cut and gathered into stacks at the end of every row. It had been a good harvest. The people were planning to celebrate that night with a festival. He could see the banners and the lanterns hanging at the temple in readiness for the celebration. He could see the people's rice fields, the houses, the beach, and finally, the sea. The air was warm and strangely heavy. It was earthquake weather. And as Oji-san stood there, he began to feel the slow shaking of an earthquake. Now, he was not alarmed. They lived through several earthquakes every year, but this one seemed different. The shaking started deep, deep below the surface of the earth. The earth shook and stilled. And then he looked out at the ocean, and he saw something he'd never seen before. The water was moving in the wrong direction. The water was pulling away from the land. It looked like the water was running away from the land. The people in the village were beginning to notice this strange sight. They were gathering on the beach, pointing to the water, talking to each other. No one had ever seen this before. No one knew what it meant. But Oji-san, standing there, began to remember when he was a little boy, his grandfather telling him of the very same thing happening when he was a little boy. And Oji-san knew what was to come. It was great danger, but there was no time to run all the way down the mountain to warn the people. There was no time even to get to the temple to ask the priest to ring the bell. He turned to his grandson. "Tada," he said, "light me a torch." The boy obeyed immediately, bringing a lit pine torch. Oji-san took the torch and ran down to the edge of his first rice field. He hesitated for only a moment, looking at all his work for the past year, all his wealth. And then he raised the torch and lit the first rice stack. Immediately, it burst into flame, the black smoke billowing into the air. He did not hesitate. He ran to the second row and lit that stack, and then ran to the third row and lit that stack too. Tada ran beside him, crying, "Ji-chan, Ji-chan, what are you doing? What are you doing?" The old man did not answer, just kept lighting row after row. Tada ran back to the house weeping. He thought his grandfather had gone crazy. Finally, the old man lit the last stack. He dropped his torch. He went back to his veranda, and he waited. It was a priest at the temple who first saw the black smoke billowing into the air. "Ah," he thought, "Oji-san's rice fields are burning." And he began to ring the bell over and over and over until finally the people who were still standing on the beach, still staring at the water, which was still pulling away from the land, at last the people turned and looked up the mountain and saw the black smoke rising. "Ah, Oji-san's rice fields are burning. We must help." And they began to run up the mountain, every man, woman, and child, for the old man was well loved. It was the young men and women who reached him first. "Water," they said. "Where's the water? We'll help you put out the fire." But he said, "No, let the fields burn." "What? Let the fields burn? But why?" "There is great danger," he said. "Everyone must come, everyone." And gradually, they did all come, the young children running up, the mothers with the babies upon their backs, and finally the old people leaning on their canes. And when he saw that everyone was there, he said, "Yes, I lit my rice fields. Look to the sea." And everyone turned and looked at the water, which was still pulling away from the land. And then, before their unbelieving eyes, the water rose rose up into a solid wall of water, high, higher, impossibly high. And that wall of water began to rush towards the shore, tsunami, the great wave. And that wall of water raced to the shore and crashed upon the beach, sending the wood from their houses flying through the air. And then the water pulled back and rose up again into a wall of water that raced towards the shore and crashed upon the beach 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, but each time growing weaker and weaker, until finally the water settled itself back in its ocean bed, dark and uneasy. And the people stared at the wreckage of their houses, at the beach where only moments before they had been standing. That, said Oji-san, that is why I burnt my rice fields. And one by one, the people turned, and one by one, they sank to their knees and bowed to the old man who stood before them, once the wealthiest of them all, now a poor man. But he had saved 400 lives. Come, he said, my house still stands, and the temple too. There is room for many. Come. And he turned, and he led the way.
Thank you, Anne. The bell is ringing. Do you hear it? Are you the one who sees the smoke rising from the rice fields? The warning bell is ringing. And we're faced with difficult choices. That great tsunami, can you say tsunami? It's a Japanese word that's made its way into English, and we all know this word, tsunami. With global climate change, the oceans are warming and the oceans are rising, and every village along the sea, from New York City to Los Angeles, from Cuba to Hawaii, every coastal city, London, and Africa is being threatened by waves and rising oceans. Do you hear the bell? Do you answer the call? Heed the warning. Think about a hurricane. With climate change, the oceans are warming and we're getting stronger and more frequent hurricanes. But did you know a hurricane begins off the coast of Africa, deep in the ocean? As the ocean warms, the water rises up and moves north across the Atlantic, does not come above the surface until it reaches the Caribbean. And this warm, moist rain we often get in the spring could be from Africa. The rain that's falling today, with the way the swirling of hurricanes crashing into the coast, could be bringing that moisture. When the hurricane fizzles out, it often reaches into the Midwest and falls on us here. Let us travel to Africa. This story will do as stories often will, cause us to question, could this story be true? Let us welcome Just Us Arts.
I was born in Greenville, South Carolina, raised up in San Bernardino, California. I live in Chicago, Illinois. I am a storyteller. The name Oba comes from the water. I heard the sound of the waves rushing back and forth.
Just a few. This is the last story, so less than 10 minutes.
It's like an angel started singing. Sounds so beautiful, don't you agree? let's learn that song together. Y'all ready? She's going to say the words and you say them back. You see, this is how we engage you in the African style of storytelling known as call and response. So you hear the words, you say them, you come back. We come from the water.
We come from the water.
Living in the water.
Living in the water.
Go back to the water.
Go back to the water.
Turn the world around.
Turn the world around.
See, very good. Now you're going to have a little bit of movement in your shoulders and your arms. How are your shoulders and your arms? Are they feeling good? Very good. I want the dancer to come to teach you the movement. It's like chair dance. So you'll have your bottom in your chair, right, and your arms are going to be moving around. It's going to be good. You're singing.
We
and
come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. Let's do it again.
Oh, yeah, because what's happening is, like, so some people are going like, she's going, we come, and she's all beautiful and everything, and you're like, oh, I can't sing that pretty. So you're going like, don't worry about singing pretty. Sing like me. I'm going to be with y'all. It's going to be nice. Try.
We come from the water.
We come from the water.
Living in the water.
Living in the water.
Go back to the water.
Go back to the water.
Turn the world around.
Turn the world around.
We come from the water.
We come from the water.
Living in the water.
Living in the water.
Go back to the water. Turn the world around.
Able. So we say Jambo. Jambo is the word hello. Jambo. Yabo. That means you did really good and we are all in sync. We are all in one. We are all connected. Yabo. In a small village of Palidaho, in the wonderful country of Benin, West Africa, there is the water bearer. The water bearer who is responsible for bringing fresh, cold, clean drinking water to the village. Each morning, the water bearer would rise early in the morning, take a long pole which she'd place across her shoulders. At either end of that long pole, she would place two gourds. She placed those gourds at the end of the pole and began to walk the long distance all the way to the watering hole. She'd make her way to the watering hole where she would dip down, fill up one of the gourds, dip, fill the other gourd, rise back up, and began her trek back to the village. When she arrived in the village, she'd take that water and distribute it to the people. Because sometimes you need water for cooking, you need water for cleaning, you need water for washing, you need water for drinking. Sometimes you just need water. After distributing the water to the people, she went to put away that long pole and place those gourds back on the shelf where they sit, where they stay. She heard the sound, whimpering, crying, a very slight sound, but she could hear it. She looked about to see where was the sound coming from. She didn't know where it was coming from, but she could hear some kind of little crying. Somebody was hurt. Who is crying? Why do you cry? She looked and the little tiny gourd answered it as I am crying. I'm crying because I have a hole in my side. And every time you make your way to the watering hole, you fill me up with water. But because of the hole in my side, I am leaking. And by the time we get back to the village, I have already leaked more than half of my water. I am no good. I am broken. I don't work. The little gourd was sad. The water bearer began to laugh. It was a beautiful laugh. She laughed and said, on the morrow, when we make our way to the watering hole, I want you to look on the side of the road. Coming back from the watering hole, I want you to look again. Look on the side of the road. And remember what you see, then tell me later. The next day, just like always, she rose up early and she grabbed that long pole, placed it on her shoulder. On either end of the long pole, she placed 2 gourds. And then she began her trek to the watering hole. Oh, the little tiny gourd was looking on the side of the road. She made her way to the watering hole. Once there's the watering hole, she dipped down, filled up one of the gourds. Dipped down, filled up the other one of the gourds. Balanced the pole, which carried the gourds, and made her way back to the village. When she got to the village, she distributed the water as she always does. Because sometimes you need water for drinking, you need water for washing, water for cooking. Sometimes you just need water. When she distributed the water to all of the people, she went like she always does, to put the gourds away. She looked at that little gourd. She said, hey now, what do you see? Did you look on the side of the road? When we traveled to the watering hole, I did. What did you see? On the way to the watering hole, I saw nothing. Just dirt and rocks, some trash the children had thrown down. I wish they wouldn't do that. But coming back, I saw grass. I saw grass and flowers. I saw grass and flowers and trees. I saw grass and flowers and trees and animals running about. It is because of you, said the water. It is because of you, said the water bearer to the little gourd. Because of me, because of you. I knew you had a hole in your side. So on the way to the watering hole, I planted seed. I dropped seed along the road. Coming back, because of the hole in your side, you leap, thereby feeding the seed, allowing it to grab root, and the grass will grow. The flowers will blossom, the trees will grow, and the animals come. Look around the village. And the little gourd began to look around, and everywhere she looked, she saw green grass, flowers blooming, trees growing, bearing fruit. Because of me? You see, each of us are just like that little gourd. We have some flaws. Things might be wrong with us. I wish my ears were not so big, but they are. They are my ears. And I love them. I love my ears. Just like you may see something that you don't like about yourself, that is not what we concentrate on. You find your gift. Each of us are here with a purpose. We have a thing that we must accomplish. Find your gift and spend your life using your gift to make the world a better place. Wade in the water. Y'all say, wade in the water, children, wade in the water.
God's gonna trouble the water.
One more time. Wade in the water.
Come on, you say wade.
Wade in the water.
Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Miss Lisa Williams White. Iala, come close. Adebayo. Very good. We are just us arts. Now, before we send you off to grab your lunch, because I just want to eat some lunch, who brought lunch? Raise your hand. I'm going to be sitting by the people who got something good to eat, would like to eat food with you. And we're going to have one more call and response. It's called We're Connected. This is the drum. These brothers here, they play the drum, this native drum. I'm going to get close to the brothers with the native drum. Allow sister to stay there with the microphone, and everybody who comes up to talk, they can just, you know what they just happen over there. But I can hear your drum right here. That's good. And the dancer's going to dance, the drummer's going to drum, and we're going to call in response this ancestors' call. We are connected. You come closer to me. Come closer to me. You can dance in the chair. To play my drum.
The ancestors said, the ancestors said,
play for you this African
you
wild.
The ancestors said, the ancestors said,
Find the rhythm, yo, clap your hands.
the ancestors said, the ancestors said,
We're connected to the elements.
the ancestors said, the ancestors connected.
Ancestors said that I should try.
The ancestors said, the ancestors said,
To get you to raise your voices high.
the ancestors said, the ancestors said,
Find a message in this song.
the ancestors said, the ancestors said,
This is how we'll get along.
the ancestors said, the ancestors
Connected like leaves to the trees. Connected like sand to the beach. Connected like stars in the sky. Connected, yes, you and I. Connected.
Live in peace with each other, with the animals, and live in peace with the plants, so that your world may endure.
The ancestors said, the ancestors said. Every morsel we put in our mouth is a sacred relationship with the earth. The ancestors said, the ancestors said.
One man can save a village. One person can affect the world.
said, the ancestors said,
Like hand on a drum, connected. Like heat from the sun, connected. All birds with wings, connected. Yes, everything connected. Find your own spiritual connection to the universe, to the water, to the elements. Make the world a better place.
the ancestors said, the ancestors said,
The ancestors said, the ancestors said,
the ancestors said, the ancestors said,
the ancestors said, the ancestors said, the ancestors said, the ancestors said, like grass to the ground, connected, black, white, and brown, connected, like ice in a glass, connected, like now to our past, connected.
the ancestors said, the ancestors said, the ancestors said.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to OPA and Just Us Arts, Eagle Ridge Singers, Jimmy and Joe and Ann Chimagina. I'm Brian Fox Ellis. On behalf of the Sun Foundation, have a great day. Be inspired. Be inspired. Be empowered. Be empowered. And thank you so there's not a traffic jam at the door. The ushers, one row at a time. Have a great day. Make a difference. Thank you.